I want to be honest with you. Along with trying to figure out how to even do this podcast, things like how to film, do I buy a microphone? Clearly, yes. I am most worried about even coming up with things to talk about for each episode. This is the third episode. And as I was preparing to record, I wasn't really sure what I was even going to share with you. But just like I said in the last episode, imperfect action. So I just got started. I'm Debbie. I'm an online personal trainer, and I spend my time helping real folks get strong for real life. Welcome back to Strength for the Journey. I figure I should start with a training update. At the time I'm recording this, 2 more weeks have passed. Other than one more strength session, which is scheduled for tomorrow, I have completed all scheduled workouts. This week, I even moved my cardio from 20 minutes up to 30. Small changes, but over time, those little changes will add up. By the end of February, I plan to do 2 30-minute cardio sessions per week, and I want to start adding in a third session of at least 15 minutes. I don't want to make too big of jumps. When I'm doing walking, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But let me backtrack to the week of the 19th. It was my birthday week, and we had Monday off from school. Are you a workout on special days kind of person? I guess there's like 2 schools of thought on that. Some people think you should give yourself the day off of working out if it's your birthday or like for holidays. Other people see it as a bit of a badge of honor to stick to a workout plan, even on special days. I fall somewhere in between. I have done both, given myself time off and gotten my workouts done. I think it sort of depends on where you are in your journey. Sometimes, like this year, doing the workout on my birthday, it felt like a nice accomplishment. It felt really good to move my body, stick to my plan for the week, and just get it done. It actually made celebrating later in the day feel even better. I think because I'm so early on in the process of getting back to working out that sticking to it felt really good. But this year on Christmas, I definitely did not exercise, and that's okay too. One way I try to make those kinds of decisions is by thinking about future me. Will the me of the future feel better if I do the workout or if I take the break? Making decisions for future me seems to pay off in the end. So this year, on my birthday, I did the workout. The rest of the week was pretty normal. I've moved my midweek clients around. I have one client on Wednesday and one on Thursday, which means I can come home and do my cardio on Wednesday and then do my second lift on Thursday. I actually found a new cardio workout type that I really enjoyed because treadmill boredom is a thing, even for me. At least this time around, it has been. I tried a bunch of different options on the Peloton. The issue I was having was that the hikes were they're still a bit too much for me at the moment. I really need like a steady pace, and the incline, if it goes up more than like, I don't know, 8%, my heart rate jumps up too much and it just becomes too much. I tried using the Peloton scenic classes and listening to an audiobook or a podcast, but I found myself looking at the clock a lot, which is like, why does a minute on a treadmill feel like an eternity? Anyway, on Sunday of my birthday week, I found a collection of what Peloton calls percent incline classes. They are 10 or 15-minute classes at a set incline percentage. I picked a 15-minute 6% class, and it was the perfect challenge for me. Not so hard that I was just waiting for it to be over, but a good challenge that really got me breathing. I had planned to do a 20-minute walk that day, but since the classes were either 15 or 10, I did a 15-minute one, and then I stacked on a 10. So really, I ended up giving myself an extra 5 minutes. Not bad for a Sunday. It's sort of interesting and reminded me that as an educator, we are taught that the level of difficulty has to be just right for students to get the best learning experience. If something is too easy, kids get bored and they don't really grow. And if something is too hard, they might feel defeated and just want to give up. Just the other day, I ran into a former student. He was excited to introduce me to his wife, and he said, "I talk about you all the time." And then to his wife, "This is the teacher I always tell you about." That is not something that teachers get very often. And it made my heart very happy. We pour into our students, and the majority of the time, we don't ever find out how things turned out for them. It was nice to hear from that student and to know that I had had an impact on him. When I was in the classroom, I taught high school students with special learning needs, also known as special ed. I was lucky because I taught ninth through 12th grade English. So a lot of the time, I would have students for all 4 years of high school. I say that that's lucky because these students often came to me feeling they were like they were broken. They would give up on learning because the system that they were stuck in didn't value their abilities and their way of learning. It would often take until winter break of their sophomore year, so a year and a half, before I finally convinced them that they can learn and that they do have a lot to offer this world. The student that I ran into is an example of one of those types of students. He used to be a troublemaker. That was often just the coping mechanism for him, feeling like he couldn't learn. Better to pretend he didn't want to than admit that he was struggling. I'm not sure exactly what it is that I have that helps me help people in this way. I experienced it a lot when I was in the special ed classroom, but I have also done the same thing for teachers in my current role in ed tech. Do you know how many people have told me computers hate me? To me, that's basically the same as that student who used to cause trouble to distract from the fact that school was hard. I make it my mission to meet people where they are, help them believe that where they are right now is just fine, and then give them the confidence to risk growth because growth does take risk. It's funny because when I decided to take on clients as a personal trainer, I didn't realize how much crossover there would be in the skills that I have been using in all the different phases of my career up to this point, including my work as an online instructor for that same MSU program that I talked about in the last episode. The majority of my clients come to me also feeling broken. They think there must be some reason they can't stick to a workout program or a weight loss plan, and they think that reason is them. Much like my former students thought that they were the problem, clients come to me feeling like they just aren't meant to be strong and healthy. So that leads me to the lesson of this week. And by the way, this entire lesson idea for this episode came to me after I just finally got started sketching out my outline and describing my training for the week. It turned into the inspiration for the whole episode. Sometimes you just have to start. And once you do, the answers will present themselves. So the lesson for the episode, it's okay, more than okay, really. It's super important to find the exercise that is just right, but just right for you and just right for you where you are right now. And for those of you who are starting over, maybe for what feels like the 100th time, it is super important that you don't judge what is just right now by what you were able to do before. For example, there was a time right before COVID that I was going to Orange Theory a lot. This was before I built my home gym. We're talking like maybe 3 or 4 times a week at least. I was in probably the best shape of my life. At one of the benchmarks, I ran a mile in just over 9 minutes. And during that time is when I set my PR for a 5K race. But if I were to try and set up my current workouts based on what that me was capable of, I would either give up or get hurt, likely both. The reason I gave myself this 3-year goal is because I know I'm not in the shape I need to be in order to even train for that goal. And really, training for a half marathon, it's not even the point. What I'm training for now, is life. I want to be able to move well for a long time. I want to be able to keep getting tons of steps at Disneyland, getting in and out of rides, and not feeling like I need to recover for days afterwards. I want to be as strong as possible for as long as possible so that I can continue to enjoy this life. And my goal is to help my clients do the same. So how does that translate for you? It means you should put social media down. I realize that I am actually sharing this podcast over social media and telling you to put it away, but you really need to stop comparing yourself to other people. And don't even compare yourself to past you. Do a super honest check-in with yourself about where you are right now And then maybe one area will sort of speak to you, like running has to me. And maybe that will be the thing you try to work on to improve. So, how do you do that super honest assessment? When I realized that this was the direction that this episode was going to go, I looked up some fitness assessments for people over 40. There were a bunch, but I want to tell you about four. I picked these four because they're a good mix of measuring different kinds of fitness. I think it'll give you a good variety of options to pick from if you become so inspired and you decide to work on one of these areas. I'd love to know which one of these you try and how you do with them. So I guess now's a good time to say maybe you should subscribe to my podcast or my channel. If you're watching on YouTube, it would be amazing if you gave it a like or comment on the episode and let us know what you decided to try and if it inspired you in any way. So anyway, I'm not going to give you the actual benchmarks for these tests. I just spent a bunch of time telling you not to compare yourself. There are specific numbers out there based on what is a good target to aim for based on your age. But remember, you have to make a plan that fits where you are right now, not where some list says that you should be. Most of these assessments can be done just about anywhere and with very little equipment. So feel free to pause the podcast if you want and give them a try. The first one is a lower body power assessment. It's called the 30-second chair stand. The goal of this one is to measure your leg strength and your endurance, which are both super important for being mobile long term and to prevent falls. So here's how it works. Sit in the middle of a normal dining room chair. Don't lean all the way back. Put your feet flat on the floor and cross your arms over your chest. Stand up all the way and then sit back down. Count how many times you can do it in 30 seconds. That's it. Test number 2 is cardio fitness. It's a 1-mile walk test. For this one, you have to find a flat 1-mile course, like a track, or you can use a treadmill. This one's about as simple and straightforward as it sounds. Walk as fast as you can, no running, for 1 mile, and record your time. The third test is for your balance and neuromuscular health. Balance is a sneaky bastard. It can slip away without you even noticing. And falls as you age they aren't good. Sadly, I know a little bit more about this than I wish I did. This time last year, we were dealing with my mom having fallen. I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's not good. So let's move on to the test. It's a single leg balance test. I recommend doing it barefoot. It will give you the best feel for the floor. Stand near to something so you can grab it for support if you need it, like a chair or the wall, but try not to touch it. Stand on both feet, lift one foot off the floor, keep your eyes open, and see how long you can stay balanced. Stop the clock if your foot touches the ground, your other leg, or if you have to reach out with your hand to steady yourself. For an even bigger challenge, see how you can do with your eyes closed. It's crazy how much harder that is. And the last test number 4, is the total body mobility test called the sit to rise test. It's been around for a while, measures a bunch of things, but it will basically just tell you a bit about your functional strength. You start in a standing up position and you lower yourself to the floor and into a cross-legged position, or as my elementary and camp counselor friends will know, crisscross applesauce. Then you stand yourself back up. On this one, you start with a 10-point limit, and each time you have to use your hand, your knee, your forearm for support in either getting up or down. You subtract 1 point and subtract half a point if you lose your balance. So that is it. 4 assessments that can give you a sense of where your fitness is right now. And knowing where you are right now can help you decide what is the just right spot to start your fitness journey. That's exactly what I do with my clients. We take where you are right now and build the just right path forward. If you want help figuring out your next steps, let's chat. As we head into February, I look forward to increasing my cardio and keeping up with my consistency. As for you, keep showing up and keep building your strength for the journey.